32, ELA. Let's see, get that light out of there. Okay, and this will be our first day of the week, and we're actually starting a new book. So we will distribute the books now, and I need 2 volunteers. Okay, so one can hold this box and walk around, and the other person can hand out the books. While that is happening, let's look at this letter that you've been given that sums up our readings for the year and also gives you an introduction to Number the Stars, which I think you're really going to enjoy. 1, because you've been prepared for sadness, and 2, because most of us seem very interested in World War II and the Holocaust. And so we get a story, a tale of bravery and of deception, because I know that you enjoy being sneaky. This should appeal to our masses. So there's 3 paragraphs here. Let's have someone read the first. Go ahead, Yadiel. Someone read the second. Thank you, Haley. And someone read the third. Thank you, Laspanya. And so we've read our letter, and what I really want us to take away from this is that the expectation not only is that you will be reading each night, but also that you are annotating. I made a deal last time that we weren't able to go through with because most people just did not annotate, but whichever book that at the end of this that is the most annotated, and not just randomly underlined or highlighted or chicken scratched, but the book that has the most sound observations, looking for character traits and setting, as well as conflict, will receive a prize, because I want you to know how much we value that. Why do we do that, by the way? Why do we annotate? Why do we write these things in our books and in our texts? To help us understand the story better. Very good. It's also nice, like, I don't know if you're at this point yet, but you've become a little older and you collect a lot of books, and like I love going back to my college books that I read and seeing my old annotations. It's like looking back on a diary, being like, oh yeah, that's the joke that I tried to make back then. Because I've told you, when I make annotations, I often try to write things that I find funny, and I encourage you to do the same. It doesn't have to be just like boring, dry, like this character is mean. Make a joke. This character is as mean as Mr. Skeeter. Don't tell him I said that. Next, let's have someone read today's aim. We will be able to annotate evidence of the major elements of exposition. Someone remind us, what is exposition? It's the beginning of the story. Very good, Fernando. And so what are some elements that the author is really going to try to develop in the beginning of the story? Setting, very good. So where is this taking place? When is this taking place? What else might the author really try to develop early on to give you an understanding, to take you to that world, I keep saying? If we don't have any hands, then I should tell you character traits. Remember, we did this at the beginning of Wonder, we did this at the beginning of Esperanza. We looked not only for setting and what's going on, but also what are these characters like? How did we know that Papa was a loving father? How did we know that Augie was an anomaly, that he was different from other students? And the author gives us hints of that very early on. We annotate so that we don't miss them, because if you don't really know the characters and their little peccadillos, then you might miss something that's really important to the story. So we're going to put this map up on the board, and I'll have it handy. And then talk a little bit about geography, something that I care a lot about, Ms. Curran cares a lot about, and that you should too. It's very important to this story, because as you see on the map, Germany had taken over a number of countries around it. This was Hitler's blitzkrieg. He decided to invade countries around him and try to expand the German Empire. So the first question that we'll let you try to answer, and we'll do this together actually. Someone raised their hand. What country is directly across the sea from Denmark? You see Denmark and you see the sea. What country is that that's directly across from it? If you said Sweden, you are correct. And now I'll give you 60 seconds to name 3 countries that border Germany on your own. Okay, just take that time, look at the map. 3 countries that border Germany, meaning they are beside Germany. Their border touches Germany. And we're back. So if you said Poland, that's great. Netherlands is great. Belgium, that's great. And I believe there's a couple other answers that Austria would be one. Now, the last thing before we get into our reading and our annotations, our initial annotations, our exposition notes. So you see the word bank and you see the paragraph and your handout. Go ahead and take your time and begin that now.